Welcome to this SN College Football Special. We have more to talk about tonight as we've just completed another week of college football. And let's talk about what are the games I watched, and it's gonna have to be which game did I want to talk about here? Let's talk about Boston College and Purdue. Now, a lot of people thought Boston College was the better team going into that game, and maybe they're right. Maybe Boston College is, but to be ranked in the top 25 is an honor. And certainly, they didn't look like a top 25 team out there. They looked terrible. They looked like an all-right team. They didn't look like they were ready to win, and that really hurts the ACC, which right now in my conference rankings, I got number 1 the SEC, number 2 the Big Ten, which I think rose above the Pac-12 this past week. Big win for Purdue over the ACC's, one of the ACC's best teams, Boston College. Which we don't know if they're going to finish the best, but as of right now, they're probably their 4th or 5th best team out of 14 teams. Of course, they have some terrible teams at the bottom. Now, I have number 2, the Big Ten, number 3, the Pac-12. I think the Pac-12 hasn't played well in non-conference, except for games against Well, yeah, Boston College, they are playing terrible, and it's sorry about that, but number 4, I've got the Big 12. I like Oklahoma, and I like Texas, but Texas, the loss to Maryland, big. But the Pac-12 has some bad losses. UCLA is terrible. USC, terrible. And quite frankly, Arizona, terrible. Arizona State has lost. They do have a good Big Ten win. Oregon. Has Oregon played anybody? I don't think they only played the game that they lost to Stanford, so they didn't play anybody. They didn't get anything from their conference. Washington did lose to Auburn. Cal did beat BYU, which is right now looking like a decent win. But Cal has to play Oregon this week, and that's not going to be good. And I really like the Big Ten right now. They're in a really good spot, but this week could be bad. If Penn State wins by a gigantic margin, the Big Ten might be in trouble. Maybe not. We'll see. But Penn State, they still have to go up to Ann Arbor. And that will be a good. Michigan, only one loss. Michigan, I believe. I don't know who they play this week. Did they play anybody? They got Northwestern this week on Fox. That should be a win for them, assuming Northwestern doesn't play like Northwestern should. But anything else that we have to say about my conference rankings? I don't like the ACC. Virginia Tech was an Old Dominion. That's unacceptable. Like, get your act together. I get you lost your starting quarterback. I believe they did lose their starting quarterback, but Old Dominion. You schedule Old Dominion and you lose? Why would you schedule a road game against Old Dominion and you lose? Maybe the ACC isn't as good as we thought. Because what has the ACC done in non-conference? Oh, Clemson. They beat Texas A&M. But the rest of the conference has done diddly squat. They have done nothing. Nothing. I think Cal beat North Carolina, so it's not looking good. What's the second best team in the ACC? Clemson's amazing, all right. Clemson's their own, but there's 14 teams in the ACC, and there's only one team that right now is good enough to win the playoff, or even remotely good enough to win the playoff. I shouldn't say good enough to win because, well, the Big Ten has, I think, 3 teams that could win the playoff. I'd say Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State right now could win the college football playoff. I don't know about Michigan State and Wisconsin. Those 2 teams are a little bit off of it because they've lost a game already to teams from out west. Of course, Michigan State still plenty of opportunity for those 2 teams to get back into the mix. Teams have come back from bad losses and gotten into the college football playoff before. It's not over for those 2 teams, but of course they haven't looked as good so far. I say the Big Ten has 3 teams that could win it. The Big 12 is really hard to tell, but I think Oklahoma for sure is a playoff contender. West Virginia, we haven't seen enough of them. I couldn't tell you if West Virginia is good enough right now because they haven't played enough quality competition. I think also, who else we got? Oklahoma and West Virginia, surely. I can't put West Virginia there, but they should be there. I want to put them there. And then you got the second tier of teams with TCU and Texas. Oklahoma State, embarrassing loss to Texas Tech this week. So Texas Tech, I don't think can compete for a playoff. No, you can't play like you did against Houston and defensively. I'm not talking about their offense against Houston. Their offense is amazing. But you can't give up that many points to Houston and expect to compete for a playoff. Because I think they did beat Houston. But it wasn't pretty, and they gave up so many to Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them. You're not supposed to lose to Ole Miss. Especially in the state of Texas, I believe it was. As well. But I think the Big 12 has a few teams that are viable, that are capable. of winning the playoff. I think you got 2 teams and then 2 teams right outside of that. I don't think Kansas State is there. I don't think Oklahoma State, and I don't think Texas Tech is quite there. Part to that second tier. In the Pac-12, I think Washington, certainly, and Stanford. Though I haven't seen a lot of Stanford, I think those 2 teams could compete for playoff. We're going to see a lot more information given about Stanford this week against Notre Dame. In the second tier, I've got Oregon in the second tier, but you gotta finish games, okay? Just gonna say that, and maybe you could put Arizona State in the second tier, but I don't think they're remotely close. I think Arizona State would be in the third tier with Cal, and I don't know who else. That conference not looking so good. Colorado might be in the third tier as well. But they've got good Washington. They've got good Stanford. But outside of those 2 teams, Oregon's the only one close. UCLA, USC, all those teams, they played terrible. Colorado would be in the third tier. I already said them. Utah may be the third tier. I think Utah's already lost somebody this year. They almost lost. They barely beat Northern Illinois. So, but I think Utah is in the third tier. Let's go to the SEC. SEC. This is a very interesting conference. We got Alabama in the first tier, LSU in the first tier, Georgia in the first tier so far. Haven't seen Georgia play anybody yet. And then Auburn will be the first tier. You saw them against Washington. That's 4 teams that I've got in the first tier. Second tier, I think I've got to go Texas A&M in the second tier. Mississippi State, Kentucky, those teams. I think Kentucky might be Kentucky and Mississippi State. I put that in the third tier. Texas A&M second tier. Those other 2 teams, third tier. Texas A&M played good against. They just have 2 losses. They're still a good football team. They lost to the best 3 teams in the country. Not good losses, but you know what? It happens. And then I'd also maybe consider Florida that third tier. Maybe. And then the ACC. Clemson first tier. Second tier, Virginia Tech. Duke. Well, Duke might be third tier. I haven't seen a lot of Duke. Duke did beat Northwestern, so I did think they're good. I've got those teams there. Miami would also be second tier. So those are my conferences. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace out.